and welcome. It is Wednesday, May 16th, and we are live back in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Welcome. It is
Not only is our Trooping the Color auction this weekend, but we are also counting down the days until the royal wedding.
I know, it's very exciting.
Luckily for us, the wedding begins this Saturday at 7 a.m. East Coast time and 12 p.m. in London, but we will have more than enough time to watch before our auction begins on Saturday at 10 a.m. And for those of you that haven't been keeping up with all the details on the royal wedding, since we feel it's so fitting with our British soldiers that we have coming up this weekend, the wedding will be held at St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle, and the reception will be held at George's Hall. And also the Archbishop of Canterbury will be officiating, who we have had versions of him, miniature figures in past auctions.
Head of the Church of England, very
Also,
important guy.
Yes. Also, 2,600 members of the public were invited to the castle grounds at Windsor for the wedding day, which is unique to Harry and Meghan's wedding. And in this group of people, they're very active in charities, so they invited a lot of people from charitable organizations, as well as students and people all around the London area. Also, that's unique to their reception is they're having lemon elderflower cake.
That sounds delicious.
I know, it does.
I know what's it taste like.
I have no idea, but I feel like we need to try to get our hands on some in the U.S.
I would love a piece.
Sounds delicious. I'm sure it will be. Also, they say that the cake is most likely going to be decorated with peonies and some other florals, just because those are Meghan's favorite flowers. So we'll see.
Sounds like a very fancy wedding.
Well, it's royals, of course.
Fancy as they get.
Also, they will leave the ceremony in an Ascot landau where they will travel along Windsor High Street. And we also have a miniature version of that landau that they will be riding in. It is lot 1458, and I will show it to you because I'm pretty excited.
Well, it's really neat with these figures. You know, all these regiments, Britain's and all the other manufacturers produced in miniature. And a lot of people do produce processions,
so
whether it be wedding or coronation.
This one in the middle right here is the one that you will be seeing, or something very similar to them, riding in that open landau on Saturday following the ceremony. So I think it's really cool, and I'm personally excited to see Meghan's dress. What about you, Ray?
Well, I think the dress will be nice, but I'm personally excited to see the parade. No one does a parade like the English. They are the absolute best, and I don't think that can be argued with anyone. What's really going to be interesting about this procession that's going to go through the small village is it's going to be led by Harry's regiment. You know, Harry's part of the British military, and he's a 1st Dragoon Guards, or it's called the Royals. So his regiment, and actually I saw sort of a later date, a number of the guys that he served with in Afghanistan will actually be in the parade leading the carriage. So that's going to be cool.
Really cool.
Lots of pomp and circumstance.
So, and a lot of the sets that we sell in auctions that, you know, you'll see some of those regiments in the parade in real life.
Yeah, well, most of the regiments that should be represented will be the Queen's Own or the household regiments. These are the Life Guards, the Blues, and the 1st Dragoon Guards. So those are the 3 cavalry units, and they actually produce these, you know, they're very important to both the British military and to Britain's soldiers. Set number 1's the Life Guards, set number 2's the Blues. Actually, it's sort of interesting, Harry's regiment, the 1st Dragoon Guards, they only made that pre-war in set 129, which is this big, huge display set that shows all the British cavalry units in it. There's probably only maybe 15 of those now. But then post-war, they did make that same regiment, and I believe it was set 2074. So just a little side note, but you're going to see all of our toy soldiers. You're going to see the real life version of them on Saturday.
So exciting. So, but enough about the royals and some more about toy soldiers. The auction begins this Friday at 2 p.m. So we're starting a little later than usual, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Saturday and Sunday, both days will begin at 10 a.m. We have 1,804 lots to be exact to sell this weekend.
That's a lot of soldiers.
There's a lot of soldiers.
We might have more soldiers than they have in the parade. I think we do.
I think so. We were counting soldier to soldier. But you can still place your bids on liveauctioneers.com. If you have not seen our catalog, here it is. This is our cover. It's entitled Trooping the Color. Also would like to mention before we really get into showing you the soldiers we have today, feel free to ask us any questions that you might have live during the broadcast. You can write a comment below and we will do our best to answer them. Doesn't necessarily have to pertain to the lots that we're showing, but if you haven't had a chance to connect with us via phone or email and you have a specific question about a lot, we have a catalog right here and we're here, so please ask us, ask away.
Yeah, just a little side note, Bree. We titled this auction Trooping the Colors, which actually is the Queen's birthday. It's not her actual birthday. It's always in late May or June. And when we were putting the catalog together, that's what we came up with. And not until a later time did we realize it coincided with the royal wedding, or we could have called it the royal wedding catalog.
We could. We have a lot to celebrate.
I know.
There's a lot.
All right, so on to soldiers.
All right, so cover lot. Traditionally, we start with that. We will as well tonight. It is lot 5010. It is a Bill O'Brien Royal Scots Guard saluting. And we're going to begin here by showing a couple different mounted figures from some newer manufacturers.
Yeah, I'm sort of going to use this as a little bit of an educational period. There's a lot of, when we refer to new manufacturer, generally that's anyone that produced after sort of 1976, 1980 in that period, and they produce up until today. During this time, there were a lot of mom and pop operations is what we sort of call them, very limited production. So they loved toy soldiers. Generally it had to do with the creator sort of like to sculpt and paint, and they decided to, very often it was a husband-wife team, and they would decide to produce these figures literally a lot of times in the garage or a small workspace. Usually they would employ a very small number of people, maybe under 4 or 5 number of people, but they did produce some very, very nice figures that endure today and are very collectible. So this first one here, that Bill O'Brien. Now Bill is a Pennsylvania guy, and he loves to convert Britain's figures. So basically he modifies Britain's 54 millimeter there.
Yes. And
he will essentially strip the figure down. He'll either pirate parts or recast specific parts for toys. He does actually even produce some of his own figures completely unique and sculpted. But what he's really known for is his painting. He paints in a style similar to Britain's and similar to Hawker. So it's a very realistic toy soldier look to it. The faces are very detailed. They're sort of a little darker. They have rosy cheeks on them.
Yes, there's rosy cheeks. He has a mustache there.
And this is by far, I think we have 48 lots of these in the sale. So it's by far the most we've ever had. I think we've only had maybe 1 or 2 at a time before. They're very desirable, and again, he produced such limited numbers, probably on average under 100 a year. Maybe some years when he was really going, he produced more, but it really was a fairly small number. But beautiful figure. A lot of the Britain's collectors really covet and cherish these because they mix in so well. They're the same scale exactly, they would fit in with any Britain's. Bill Mealy, actually, one of my good friends and old-time collector, I know he did commission Bill to produce some sets that he always thought that Britain should have made. So, it's great on sort of these fanciful things like, why didn't they make a Scots Guard saluting officer?
Right. It was
well,
just
there
one
it
is.
So
it fills in a lot of the blanks.
Exactly.
But one thing that he did not have were boxes. So all these a lot of them are individual figures and they do not come with boxes, but they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Really, really fantastic job. So definitely search for Bill O'Brien. We have another one to show you a little later in the broadcast.
Yeah, he would basically do sort of commission work. So once someone really liked his work, very often those people, sort of like a Brian Rodden who does Knights now, he produces figures strictly for sale, but a lot of it is just produced for his customers. And Bill still sets up at Hackensack and also, I believe, Valley Ford show. And essentially that's really the only place you'll see those unless you sort of have become one of his customers.
Very true. So moving on to another one. This is lot 5049, and it is by All the Queen's Men.
All the Queen's Men. Now, this is an English manufacturer. Derek Cross started this company. He's still alive, and I don't think he's still producing, but he might produce an odd figure here and there. He started in the early 70s with sort of the heyday maybe being in the mid 80s through the early 90s. Very nice figures, very detailed. If you look at it, sort of separate reins, a lot of applique work on it. Still, all these still look like toy soldiers, so they aren't really military miniatures or anything like that. This was a toy soldier, although really these figures weren't really meant to be sort of given to children for them to play army with. They're more for a collector that's looking for, in this case, the kettle drummer of the 16th Lancers.
And this one is a little bit smaller than the Bill O'Brien figure. So if I bring this right up next to each other, you can see that he's about a head smaller, riding on top of the horse. There is some heraldry along the side of the kettle drums. And it, like as Ray said, it just has absolutely beautiful detailing on it. It's a really, really nice figure.
Yeah, it really is. They're very collectible, very popular, not that difficult to find. Again, he produced more than Bill O'Brien, but not nearly as much as the next company that we're going to show, which was Ducal.
So this lot is 5225.
That's a Ducal box. And this
Yep.
was one of those husband-wife teams, Jack and Thelma Duke, out of England again, and they were represented in America by Max Schulman, who was part of the West Coaster. They imported a
matches
lot
us
of
today.
Look at that, perfectly. I wonder
Very
where they
nice.
got the colors. They imported, or Max imported quite a bit of these. I wouldn't say they're common, but generally every sale will have a very nice selection of them. Larger figure, so much. Again, we're going to use the O'Brien is the reference for Britons.
Right, so this one is a step bigger.
Yeah, it's probably about 60 millimeter, maybe even a little more. So the Britons piece was hollow cast. All these are solid cast. Generally, they solid cast. They went to hollow cast. Britons did. It saved a lot of money in lead. But essentially, when they got to this period, shipping costs were much cheaper. Material costs were much cheaper. So it's easier to produce a solid cast figure.
Right, and a lot heavier, obviously, not hollow. I love the detailing on the back of this horse too, just the spots and all of just everything about it. The coloring, the paint on there, it's a really,
sort
really
of
well.
separate cast reins, more detailing. So this figure actually, these figures usually are fairly reasonable. I would guess this figure is probably going to sell around $40, maybe $45. But for the detailing, it's really exquisitely done. All the Queen's Men figures tend to be a little bit more, maybe 60 to 80. But the Ducal figures are beautiful figures that, again, work in a procession. But one of the things that some of the Britons guys don't like is it's a little bit too big to sort of mix and match.
Right.
But very, very nice figure. Okay, so then we're going to leave the British Empire for a moment.
So now this...
I shouldn't say the British Empire. We're going to leave England and go to one of their colonies, which is New Zealand.
This is lot 5169, and this is made by a company called Imperial. Also solid cast.
Again, movable arm, very nice detailing, but not really to the level of all the Queen's Men or the Ducal. You see the reins are cast in the horse, very similar to the way the Britons one is. Again, it's a slightly larger scale, but it's sort of close enough that it does work with Britons, but it is a little bit larger. Again, probably that's more like 57, 58 millimeter. But again, beautiful figures. Imperial produced, again, starting in the mid-80s. They went up until about 2005. And as far as I know, they're totally out of production, but they may produce some figures from time to time. The molds are still there. I think the family is still sort of interested in it.
And this gentleman is very decorated. This is actually George V.
George.
So, and he even has a nice beard there and rosy cheeks. So lots of detail on there. I mean, he's got a lot of bling on the top of his uniform.
That he does.
I know
right?
that's not the proper
Good-
word, but
good-
I like it.
Good to be king. Good to be king.
Okay,
Okay, then finally for our little educational program. This is a much newer manufacturer. I believe started around 2005-ish or...
This was made by Monarch, and this is lot 5304. Monarch is denoted by these, actually, you know, it's got this foil-like label on it, the black boxes. I really think that they're neat. They're all in those boxes, and this figure also is a little bit larger.
Yeah, it's larger scale. It's similar in scale to the Ducal figures, so these two work very good together. Again, about 60 millimeter. You know, the advantage to this scale is they do show up very nice on the shelf, but you do sort of have to keep all the scales together. So generally, guys that will collect newer plus Britons, they'll keep their Britons on a different shelf, and then these two sort of marching
Next
side
to
by
each other.
side work very well. Monarch's sort of interesting. New manufacturer, and we have an article, I believe, on Monarch coming out in the next Old Toy Soldier, which should be out in a couple weeks.
Correct.
Written by Bill Anderson, who's an Australian, very nice guy, and I think he explains more about the company, but it was actually founded by the Prince of Thailand, and who liked toy soldiers, and I think financed this range of soldiers. Again, very nice figure, very high quality. Similar to Imperial, scale-wise and everything. It does, again, scale-wise, they sort of work. It's sort of, they all have a slightly different scale, but hey, you marching along there, marching right up. But a very nice figure by Monarch. We don't get too many of those. They also made like a Samurai series. They made a number of different series.
Yes, and noting the Samurai series, it's very, very awesome. I love the Monarch Samurai.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
We've had them in past auctions, and they are absolutely beautiful figures.
That they are.
They would make an amazing display all lined up together. And next, we are going to some honorable mention. We're going to mention a couple sets in the catalog
Yeah, there's so much in the sale. We just sort of want to give you an idea of what's in here.
that we don't have right in front of us. So these sets in particular, I'm just going to show you lots 2371 and 2372 are rare. These sets up here at the top, they are early rare knockdown sets.
Made by company Beiser.
Yes, it was a military game. We have shown them on past shows before if you haven't seen, but you would use a little gun and you'd knock down the soldiers. They are slotted so that they fall down, obviously, hence the name knockdown sets. But they're really neat and they're very rare, and these ones are in nice conditions in their original boxes. We also would like to mention lots 2364 through 2370. These are just a few of them here. They were made and imported to the US under the Kringle Society trademark as used by Marshall Fields, which was a department store that was located in Chicago really in the early 1900s. So these ones, they're beautiful sets.
Yeah, that really interesting thing about that is we're still researching them. And they just came in. We aren't
There's a
quite
couple
sure about
more
a couple
there,
things.
too.
But we believe the figures most likely are Wollner. They appear Austrian in nature. They were actually specially packaged for Marshall Fields. Never really seen this series before, so it's sort of a new find. And stay tuned, there should be more in Old Toy Soldier in the coming months.
And lot 2364 is a demi-round set, but just this baby blue coloring on the uniforms is beautiful. And they're definitely worth checking out if you haven't in the catalog online. They're beautiful sets.
Very nice.
And last,
the big ones,
our last honorable mention in here are these large Mignot display sets.
Yeah, some of these are incredible. Killer.
They're beautiful. They start with lot 5388 and they run through 5392. I'll show you a couple of them. So we have this one here, and these are large. This one's very, very nice as well.
Yeah, that's an entombment of Napoleon. That's one of the greatest sets that Mignot ever made. It's absolutely immense. It probably measures 3 feet long almost. very deep, a very heavy set. There you have the Polar set, one of my favorites. They produced that for a long time. I think we have Arabian Nights in there.
Yes, there's Arabian Nights as
Likes
well.
the Arabian Nights.
This one we have featured on our Facebook right now. But they're all really, really nice Minyo sets. So those are our honorable mentions for
All right.
tonight. Now back to actually I take that back. We have one more. Also, yep.
Yeah, this sale we're trying something different. So, Old Toy Soldier Auction is always expanding. We're going to try to start carrying some military miniatures. Now, the difference with these are extremely, extremely high detailed figures. Most of them produced relatively recently. This phenomenon really didn't happen until the 50s with some of the earliest ones. Essentially, most of these are from the 1990s or 2000, even 2010. The Miniature Figure Collectors of America, they have a show once a year. Modelers from all over the world come. These are all one-ofs, so it wasn't production line. They're produced by the very finest sculptors and painters in the world. So a lot of these guys will also work for the movies, producing models, but the top ones are very, very sought after. A lot of them are Italians. Nello Rivicchio is one of the names that I always remember. But they're very precise. There's a lot of research that goes into their uniforms, making everything as precise and accurate as possible. And, I know you've seen them, Bree. When you look at these, I mean, they're just amazing.
The detail on them is off the charts. They are so detailed, and they're really neat because I like how they're raised up. So a lot of them are on these wooden platforms, but the figures themselves, and the ones specifically that we have here, they're 54 millimeters. So they're going to be the Britain scale. But of course, as Ray stated, they're one-ofs. To me, I think they're even more sculptural pieces, and a lot of them are really like art.
Well, they are. Everyone's a work of art. These guys paint with a single hair brush, so they are exceptionally finely detailed. They're really sort of the ultimate figures. The difference being that these weren't really meant to be toys, so. They're very precise. They're sort of very difficult to move from one place to another because everything down to like the tassels, is all done meticulously.
Yes, it really is. And they have other things than just soldiers as well. So when they have this show once a year, well, they have them in other states, but the one that we go to is right outside of Trevose, PA. And they do other things. So I recall we missed the show this year because we were in Germany, unfortunately. But they had a Godzilla. Yes, they had a Godzilla and a TV. It was so neat. Just all kinds of things. So really recommend checking out the show if you have not checked it out yet. And once again, those are our 3,000 lots. So 3,001
Those
to
all be on Saturday.
3,019
Sort
Saturday.
of midday Saturday.
Yes. And now back to some soldiers that we have here with us. Lot 5035. These are also Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, so we have a lot of civilian figures in this sale, especially a lot of farm, guard, and things like that. But to show you some other Britons. Now this is basically...
This is so neat.
Yeah. Now that's based on the Britain's figure of the shepherd. And again, converted into a fly fisherman. And then here's the catch of the day. So that's what Bill was really good at. He would make these really incredible figures and scenes. That's a great little... You're a fisherman. What more do you want? Fly fisherman and your little guide holding your trout.
He's got green, fishing boots on and a plaid scarf, so it's really detailed. And even the fish there, it's two-colored and very cool for any fisherman. So, fishing for salmon. We had the
Fishing for salmon, not trout.
Fishing for salmon.
That looked
Could
like
be
a
trout.
It looked like a rainbow, but it could be a coho.
Could be either. Also, as Ray mentioned, that there's a lot of civilian and farm. So, and that's you could make any displays with that. So there are lots with, 50 sheep or 50 pigs or 50 cows. So, if you are, making displays of any sort that are civilian oriented, this is definitely the auction for you.
Yeah, really. Fencing,
Fencing,
trees, all that kind of
all
stuff.
kinds of things like that. So
But then we picked out a couple cute little things too.
we did.
Just
So
to
this is
show.
lot 4048. And this one's going to be a little bit difficult for me to show.
Let's show this is a little boy on the Shetland pony.
Boy and a pony.
Oh, look
What
how
young
cute.
child wouldn't like a pony?
Did you ever have a pony?
I didn't, but I remember going on pony rides.
Oh, I never had a Shetland, but I had a little pony when I was young.
What was his name?
Tonka. What's wrong with Tonka? That was his name.
Tonka reminds me of those Tonka trucks.
Well, I did like Tonka trucks back then.
So
here's
that
a-
one, that was set number 600 actually. This one we have is 618. Or no, sorry, this is 619. Garden Swing with Boy.
If you can get them. But they, again, now this is Britain's again, but all kinds of great things that you can make, beautiful layouts, gardens, things like that. How nice.
Very, very nice.
So again, lots of civilian, and then the ultimate
So
civilian.
cute. So this, well, we have this one too.
Oh, you're gonna show the little seesaw.
We have a seesaw. So can you hold that side? I know I have it, I guess.
Let's see.
Let's see if I can hold it. So this one's a little seesaw. There's a log and they actually go back and forth. I think it's a really
That is
charming
cute.
little
Yeah,
piece.
that's very nice.
So those once again are lot 4048. And also in the civilian category, this is lot 4141. It is the Britain's Village Idiot.
I've told this story before, but I always like to tell it because it's sort of a classic. So the Queen was actually taking a tour of Britain's factory. They were showing her the whole production run, and she turned to the manager of Britain's and said, "My, you have everything except the Village Idiot." And hence, a couple weeks later, this is what they whipped up for him. So it's sort of a clown-looking figure. Now, I shouldn't say a lot, but there's a number of people that only collect idiots. There was a famous idiot collector out there named Michael Stripling, because they do come in a lot of color variations. They can come with different color smocks. So this is a blue, it would come in
Yeah.
dark blue, green,
I've seen a pink
yellow,
one.
pink, yep. And then for crazies, like Mr. Stripling, he would collect, like, if they can have brown boots, they can have black boots, they can
All
have
different
tan,
variations.
I think they can have tan bases or green bases. So there's a lot of different variations you can get. But for some people, idiot's the best thing to
He's
collect.
nice. I like him. And they are rare. So
Oh, they're very rare.
he's a rare one.
Just a little side, because we were talking about Bill O'Brien and how we convert. There was another early collector dealer named Bill Brunton, and his client was Michael Stripling, the King Idiot collector. And so Bill would actually buy Village Idiots, take the heads off, and then attach them to other figures. So like in his collection, which we sold Michael's collection many years ago, 10 years ago. But he would have sort of like an Irish guardsman with like an idiot head on and all that kind of stuff. So you can have a lot of fun playing
That's
with
funny.
toy soldiers.
I didn't know that one.
Yep.
That's good.
All kinds of good
All
stuff.
right, I like that. Okay,
Oh.
so if you're looking for one to add to your collection, 4141. Oh, these are fun too.
Well, speaking
Okay.
of looking like an idiot, we got some miniature hats again.
Mini
I know
hats.
everyone's seen this.
The hats are back.
Here, another SARS
so-
hat. Here, these are ultra mini. I can't move. I gotta stay
Be
very
careful.
still.
Okay, my
So
favorite.
we had a big grouping last time. This is a little bit larger, about 3 inches. These are probably store displays.
My favorite is this one right here.
Why?
I
Because it has a lot
love
of
these
feathers.
feathers.
Look at that. It's perfect.
I like this one.
That looks good.
That's really
Looks like
cool.
you have a field marshal's hat on there.
So we have that one, and these ones are a lot. So that one's in a lot.
So this is
on
a
its
single
own.
lot. The larger one,
You
the
can
Busby,
see-
is a single lot.
See the difference of the size in these two. This one's about 6 inches from the top to the bottom, and then these ones they're about
Like
half
3
that.
inches, yeah.
So this one is being sold by itself, It is lot 3059, and the rest are being sold as a group. I'll show you some of the other ones, and it's lot 3060.
No, we put them out again.
Oh, that one's cool.
Ah,
I like that one.
I feel like I need a cup.
See this one?
I like a monkey with a
Oh,
cup.
this one's really cute too.
That's good. I love them.
They're really neat. The details on them, they're just the scale too. I love that they're so small.
I know.
So cool. And this little one. Very neat, very neat.
Yeah, beautiful.
I don't know. Very nice. Okay,
All right.
now, all right.
All that, I worked up an appetite.
You worked up an appetite.
Yeah, what do we got next?
All right, we've got lot 5058. It's Potsdamer, set number 749, the German Encampment Field Kitchen.
It's the kitchen. These are the cooks. Look, they're like slaughtering the pigs, getting ready to roast them up.
Oh, the poor
Everyone's
pigs.
ready to eat. Looks delicious.
Aw.
Yeah, you'd be hungry. You've been marching all day. So this is a field kitchen. These were made by Joe Shimmick, who passed away maybe 5 years ago now, relatively recently. Potsdam Zinfiguren, or what do they call it? Potsdam Zin?
Yes.
Yes, Zin Soldaten.
Zin Soldaten.
And they're basically Heidi-like figures that all essentially unique. He did sort of maybe modify some, but basically they're all sort of unique figures. Beautiful, beautiful production. I really like his figures. They sell for a fraction of what Heidi's sell for. You know, if this was a Heidi set, that would be $3,000. This set, mint condition, very nice. Probably going to be $300, maybe $350, something like that.
Yeah.
So a fraction of the price, but every bit as much a nice figure. Joe sort of produced mainly starting, I'd say, in the early 80s. Sort of his day was sort of late 90s, maybe mid to late 90s. And then sort of essentially stopped production.
And
probably.
he has some amazing sets.
Oh,
I mean, when
they're-
we were at Chicago, the Chicago Toy Soldier Show, this past September, I can't believe this one's creeping up on us slowly again.
I know.
But there were just amazing sets there. And actually,
Yeah,
one of
very-
them might have been in California too. The Trojan set.
The Trojan horse.
There's
yeah.
a Trojan horse set that I thought was really, really awesome.
Well,
and
he's very inventive. He did, again, sort of like O'Brien, a lot of things that you would think that Heidi should have done. Now, Heidi was very inventive, too. They did a lot of very odd things. But, you know, like even this set with, like, the little dog here.
I know, I love the
and
dog.
then see, like, the little rabbit between the...
I mean, you can look and
between
see
the guns.
details every time, so that's fine. It's okay, nothing was wrong.
Nothing's
But this
broken.
little doggy right here, he's really cute. We just lost our little artillery.
Oh, that's the field kitchen. That's
The field
that's-
kitchen here.
That's what they cook out of. Can't lose that. I'm
It's
waiting
okay.
for my roast pork.
It's been recovered. It's been recovered. So, but also, I just noticed this little bunny.
Yeah, that's what I said.
a
Yeah.
bunny.
Little bunny sitting between those guns.
There's a guy laying on the ground looking at the stars. It's really cool.
Yeah,
So
I like that.
one is lot 5158.
Okay, well, then after we have our roast pork, we need
I
something
know.
to wash it
After-
down.
Exactly.
Let's see how steady everyone is.
Okay, this is a little challenge. This is the Brewer's Dray. And also, I'd like to make a side note that they still have beer in these barrels today.
That they do. I think we might have just sampled some on our European
And they would
vacation.
roll the barrels down that ladder. That's how they would unload them off of.
Yeah, so it just like, I mean, they still have these carts. You roll it to the back, and it would slide down.
Careful.
Careful. And you'd have your delicious beer. This one's advertising Watney's beer.
Yes, Watney's. So it's got a little advertising on it, which makes it even cooler. I don't know if you can see that.
Why do
See,
you
it
think
says
their
Watney's.
barrels are labeled double X? Must be some strong
Must
stuff.
be, yes. Some strong stuff. And I also, as I was doing a little reading up on the royal wedding, not to circle back, I'm pretty excited about it. They made special beer called the Windsor Knot Ale. for Harry and Meghan that they're selling. So I'd like to try it. It's a pale
Alright.
ale.
I'd like to get
And
my hands on
unfortunately,
that.
we didn't order any in enough time to have any this evening.
You know, we might have to try to get some of that for the September show.
Oh,
For
yes.
our beer crew.
For our beer crew. That would be awesome. So, if you're in London or if you don't mind waiting a little bit to order it online, you can just Google Windsor Not Pale Ale and it comes right up. So it looks pretty good.
All right.
And it was made from the barley on the grounds of Windsor. And it was pretty interesting, the story on it. They used some ingredients, I think that like a champagne, something specific from the west coast of the US, and then also obviously the barley from the grounds of Windsor, because it's the combination of the American and the English boy
that's nice. I wonder where you're
getting
going with
married.
That
So
makes sense.
something like that. But yeah, so we'll let you know. Stay tuned. Don't
All
know
right.
what it tastes like yet. And
So after a long day at the wedding, this is a Britain set. This is a very rare set, new production, made in 2005. There you go, the blues sitting on a chair, and here you have another officer. It's actually, what do they call it, Bree? Is it the Christmas?
this is the Britain set number 41169, the very rare Christmas scene, Guardsman at the Bar.
Yeah.
It was a limited edition. It's a rare set. What's neat about it that Ray pointed out are that the guardsmen do not stand on bases. They were designed, and it's not going to work because I'm holding this and my arm's shaky, but to lean on the bar. So that's really how they stand up.
So sit on each side. There's a little pint right between them. The guy on the chair. So I imagine the scene's going to be repeated come Saturday night. You'll have a lot
Yes.
of the military guys pulling up
You'll have a lot of them
after they've
sitting
been
up.
parading all day.
Yes,
We've
long-
talked about that. When we've worn those uniforms, how heavy, hot, and stiff they are.
Oh my goodness, I
And-
can't imagine.
How those guys stay in those for 8-10 hours.
I mean,
Information
45
and
minutes
attention.
is it's a stretch, and I'm sitting down. They're heavy though. They are really heavy, and the helmets too.
So I think with that, that sort of gives you a taste of everything in our auction. Trooping of the color.
Yes, I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I mean, like we said, there's over 1,800 lots in here. We mentioned the Savoyan. We even have many, many more manufacturers than we've even noted.
Yeah, there's something for
This
everyone.
evening, but there's something for everyone. Trooping the Color begins this Friday at May 18th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday at 10 a.m. and Sunday at 10 a.m. as well. You can jump on Live Auctioneers and search for Old Toy Soldier. The auctions will come up. You'll be able to register for all 3 days, and you can search for any keywords on Live Auctioneers and it'll pop up. So everything will populate in the sale if you're looking for a certain manufacturer or a certain regiment. So anything like that, you can search for that. And we are still accepting bids, so you can call us, you can email us. All of our contact information's on our Facebook page. And the next Old Toy Soldier magazine is in production right now, so you should be receiving yours within the next 2 weeks. And if you are not a subscriber as of yet, you can jump on oldtoysoldier.com and you can subscribe to the online version, or you can order the printed version that is printed 4 times a year to be delivered to your home. And we also, new and exciting news, we have a new series on YouTube. So I know we took a little hiatus in the last month and a half.
Yeah, she told me it's been 2 months since we did a whole live broadcast. I can't believe it.
Almost 2 months, but we've released 2 new videos on our YouTube channel. So all of our live videos that we do on Facebook, if you weren't aware, they're archived on our YouTube channel. On top of that, the new series Adventures with Ray and Bree, we are doing interviews with collectors. And so that's very exciting. There's one up there right now, and there's another one that will be being released very soon. And then we also we tour around the world and we see some really neat things. So it's just us on sight at different places. It's all pre-filmed as far as Adventures with Ray and Bree, but if you're not...
This is live.
Yes, live. But if you're not a subscriber to our YouTube channel, you don't have to have an account to watch it, but if you do subscribe, you just go to youtube.com and then type in Ray and Bree Live. RAYANDBRE Live. And you'll find all of our videos. You can actually just Google it too and they'll pop up. Also, our next RSL auction is the weekend of June 2nd and 3rd.
Coming up very soon.
It's going to be a fantastic auction.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's one of the best RSL sales we've had in years, almost a decade, I'd say. We have 3 fabulous collections. First, we have the Tom Sage and Tom and Lori Sage collection of mechanical banks. That's going to be on Saturday, June 2nd in the morning. Then we are going to be selling Dr. Greg Zemenik's collection, otherwise known as Dr. Z. Dr. Z was a staple at all the conventions. Just a great guy that built a wonderful, wonderful collection that we're going to be selling all of his, not all, but a number of his toys and still banks in this sale. And then we're going to be selling his mechanicals later in the year.
October 27th.
And then more still banks throughout the summer. So we'll keep you posted on all that. And then sort of, I don't want to say a new field for RSL, but one that we haven't really represented as strongly as we are going to in this sale. We have a fabulous collection of Lehman toys and early German hand-painted tin, mainly Guntherman.
And we're going to be doing a broadcast prior to that sale. It'll be Thursday, and we'll be in New Jersey at the auction gallery. We have almost 50 lots to show you. It's going to be an epic broadcast. So that's our next one. Make sure to tune into that. We'll be sending an email blast and, you know, obviously more information on social media prior to that blast. But very, very exciting news. And if that wasn't enough, Leon and Angela Weiss, the Friday evening before the auction begins, are going to be holding a gourmet barbecue at their home. And if you would like to RSVP or if you would like more information, you can call Leon at 908-823-4049. And all 3 auction catalogs for RSL are on liveauctioneers.com right now. You can watch, you can register, you can place your bids on there. You just search the RSL Auction Co. and all of that information will come up as well.
Well, that's very exciting. I'm looking forward to all that, Bree.
I know, me too.
All right. Well, with all that being said,
I know. So,
what do you think?
I'm excited. I think we have a wedding to celebrate.
You want to propose a toast?
Yes, we're going to propose a toast, but I have to get everything ready.
Yeah, we got to get prepared here.
All right. I have to be in true form here.
We got a little bubbly. Oh, that's right. Remember where I got this bottle, Bree?
Oh, let me think about it. Yes, I do.
Might have been a little competition that we had. We were in Germany at the Porsche factory.
Yes, this is straight out of Germany. It's called Danbury English Sparkling Wine. And look, it even has a soldier on there. Huntsman.
A little huntsman.
Huntsman.
So, for this weekend, you ready?
Okay, you're missing something. All right, now we're ready. So, the Queen Lorraine.
The Queen Lorraine. Now I'd like to propose a toast to Harry and his beautiful bride, Meghan Markle. I wish them all the best.
Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Thank you for watching, everyone. Happy collecting.
Bye now.